Ladies and gentlemen, I'd really like you to put your hands together to welcome the director, Kartiki Gonsalves, the executive producer, Kartiki Gonsalves also executive produces this, and producer Guneet Monga to join us on stage. Kartiki, the last week has been such a rush of blood to the head. Is it sinking in? The first Indian production and documentary to win an Oscar. Tell me about that.
It's absolutely surreal. The entire journey has just been one crazy journey from 2017 to right up to now. So 6 years of craziness, I think. But just happy that it is what it is.
They want you to pose for the camera, Kartiki. Both you ladies, all three of you looking so lovely. Guneet, yeah, I mean, sometimes what happens is it's like a wave, isn't it? I mean, if somebody asks you to describe what you felt at that very moment, must have been euphoric, stunned, whatever. But then how do you view it now, a week later, when you look back?
I think this is the real celebration coming back home. So I just feel we are reeling into celebrating with everybody at home. So yes, that moment was absolutely surreal and epic and proud and humbling and such an honor. But I think the reeling in is happening now. So the joy I really feel is the joy that I see in everyone's eyes. These eyes and these faces and smiles make us feel proud. So thank you for an awesome welcome and for celebrating us all the way.
We'd like to invite a man who played a very pivotal part in this journey. Please put your hands together for the producer of The Elephant Whisperers, co-founder of Sikhya, Achin Jain.
Achin Jain.
Achin is
my partner.
Achin has spearheaded some of the most challenging and unconventional films, so many acclaimed titles, such a diverse range. When I look at what Sikhya has done in terms of the scale, the subject, the budgets, and the complexities that you've taken on. So many congratulations to you too. Yeah. Are you in love with elephants just a wee bit more, Achin?
Yes, I think a lot more after living through the story of Baman Belly and Raghu and Amu, the words of Baman Belly, our stars, Amu and Raghu and their actions. So yeah, I mean, we have a pet, a lab, Master Shifu. So I think for us at Sikhya, so I mean for us, for the first time we have discovered a connection between different nature. I mean for us, when I see Shifu or Raghu and Amu, there are so many similarities. So it's just bizarre. And I think the resonation and that love has been throughout the world with the fan art, the fan art that we have seen. So yeah, a lot more in love with baby elephants now.
Guys, I'd like you to give a round of applause to the team of Sikhya Entertainment. The entire team.
Thank you. They're all here.
They're all here.
Just stand up.
I beg your pardon. I take up two people's places, and it's a limited stage, so we couldn't call everybody on stage. But we want to respect you, we want to honor you. So just, thank you very much,
Our
Team
DOP
Sikhya.
is here. Our DOP is
Yeah, we'll introduce you to them later, one by one.
Okay.
But right now, just another round of applause. Team Sikhya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, so much. Means the most.
Kartiki, let's do a rewind. Your first ever meeting. I am absolutely stunned. I just had a 5-minute interaction with Bowman and Belly. Just wanted to, get to know them. And they're so beautiful and pure. Your first meeting with Bowman and Belly, tell us about how that went.
Well, to begin with, I actually grew up in the Nilgiri Mountains, and I was driving on my way back from Ooty to Bangalore to pack my things and come back home. And that's when I saw baby Raghu, and he was just 3 months old at the time, and he had his trunk wrapped around Bowman's arm, and they were walking off to the side of the road. I was hanging out of the car, which I shouldn't have been doing. But then I actually pulled the car over to the side and I jumped out and I went and joined them. We went down to the river for a bath. And that's when Raghu ran in full speed into the river. I've never seen a baby elephant run so fast. He ran in and he pretty much looked like a baby helicopter. His trunk was being thrown around all directions, and that's when I really started to notice that you had this tiny little elephant calf that was so extremely vulnerable. And that made me question why this calf was with a human being, because you had these two species here and you had this beautiful, unique bond that they share. And I think that sort of led me forward to think about, I think about why this little young calf was with a human being. And that's when I realized that the Asian elephants were endangered and that there were only about 35,000 to 40,000 of them left. And here we had baby Raghu, who was actually directly involved with how climate change was playing out, because his mother had wandered into a nearby herd. She and her herd had wandered into a nearby village in search of food and water, and that's how she got electrocuted and died. So I think the entire process of how that happened just wanted me to help protect elephants and to document this beautiful sacred bond that they shared. And it's soon after that that I actually come across Belly, because she was back and doing a lot of the housework at that point, so I didn't know she existed. It was something that unraveled over time. And it really just started out with the beautiful connection that I shared with baby Raghu and Bowman at the time. And that's how this journey came into being. And I also wanted to just go ahead and also focus on indigenous people, because we had Bowman, and after just talking to him for so many hours, I realized that they had this beautiful connection with the space that they lived in. And that's something that I also wanted to bring out to the forefront. And that's how this entire journey began.
That's lovely. I was lucky enough to do a Zoom session with Guneet as well as Kartiki. And I was stunned to know that there was 450 hours of footage. 450 hours of footage shot by them. And that had to be encapsulated into a 40-minute film. Now that is a superhuman effort. And I think that itself deserves an Oscar, which is wonderful. But what I loved is this delicate footage of the forest and nature. It looked as though you were truly trying to capture the soul of the animals and the people who were living there. So in that aspect, the journey of the Elephant Whisperers, and you as director and cinematographer, the steps that you consciously took to make us feel we're part of Bowman, Ellie, Raghu, Ammu's world.
Having grown up in the same space, I experienced the beauty that the place had to offer right from a very young age. And that's something that I really wanted to showcase to the world. I wanted people to immerse into their life and to be able to experience all the different animals that were around. And in fact, we would actually head out, and I think Krish, who's here in the audience right there, he was on this journey from the very beginning, and we would head out and go out at 4 a.m. in the morning, and we'd head off into the forest. We'd try to record in the most beautiful light. And that's how it all evolved. We would spend lots of hours out in the wilderness and capturing the beauty of the place. I think it's really important to showcase a place in all its beauty. And we have that right where we were in this documentary.
And I want to laud you and Team Netflix. Every time I give you a direct compliment, you always shrug it off and say it's the team. You don't like being self-laudatory, which is why we love you so much. But really, the fact that here's a girl, directorial debut, wins an Oscar, what does this mean for young creators? And what the Elephant Whisperers has done in terms of empowering young creators. And that's really what you set out to do at Netflix India, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it's just so amazing to see Kartiki being, in her first film as a director, and having producers also who are part of the journey. And for us at Netflix, it really matters to find the raw talent which is out there, all the creators who are just bubbling with stories to come to Netflix like Kartiki did, and really wanting to tell the stories in the most courageous, the most honest way, and stories that can actually reach out, have universal appeal. And I think for me personally, the fact that all of us as execs at Netflix are huge fans of storytelling, I think that is what we eat, sleep, breathe. Guneet and Achin know that. We have 100 conversations around that all the time, and with all our partners and creators. I think it's just something that runs deep at Netflix, which is respect for stories, storytellers. And I think we would not be the service that we are if it were not for first-time storytellers like Kartiki or seasoned storytellers who find that one story that can, just go big and, go all over the world. But I think fundamentally it is about the stories and the people who have the vision, passion, bring it together. We are there to be as strong creative enablers and to make their journey and their vision come to life.
It's wrong to be judgmental when people run after the masses, the larger stories, the low-hanging fruit, because that is a way of life that some producers have chosen for themselves. And it's wrong of us to judge them. But at the other end of the spectrum, you look at somebody like Guneet, Monga, you look at Sikhya, and you see that it's not just about the low-hanging fruit and running after the masses, it's also about the underrated stories. And instinctively, Guneet, I always feel that you go after the underrated stories. Is that a conscious choice?
I honestly feel very spiritual about my work. Sikhya means keep learning, keep growing. Seekh se Sikhya bana. And I genuinely feel stories choose us. Be it Lunchbox, be it Paglet, be it Period End of Sentence, be it Elephant Whispers. I feel like stories choose us, and to show up with integrity and honesty every day is the job that we do. And everybody at Sikhya and the beautiful, and we are empowered by Netflix, and we have a deep relationship, and I think it's deeply intuitive and instinctive to fall in love with the story, and we work in long format. It takes years for a story to come to life, and to show up every day with all your honesty is all we can do. And awards, rewards may follow, may not follow. This is epic that happened in our journey as filmmakers, but really I think at Sikhya, as filmmakers, we are in service of the story and the filmmaker.
Lovely, lovely. That's a spiritual. Natural history filmmakers talk about this all the time. The complexities of shooting with nature, the complexities of shooting with wildlife. And you've done both of that. So I'd like you to talk about the challenges involved and, your whole perspective with the struggle and then the success after that.
I think more than the struggle, I think the challenge in general was that we were shooting this around COVID. In a way, there were a lot of challenges. Of course, we were shooting in a remote area. The first time we met Kartiki was, I think, physically we met her after a year of I think we had so many Zoom conversations for a year. The fact that we were dealing and we were operating in a time when the world was so negative, I think the story gave us a lot of hope. The fact the first time we saw some footage, we had never seen something like that. So I think yes, in general the documentary has its own challenges. The fact that the journey for this docu has been for 5 years, be it different schedules of shooting and filming in the remote area, or to even deal with that amount of footage. I think, but I think there was a vision that Kartiki had at the start of the when she set out, which was a sacred bond between the man and the nature, and somewhat I think over these many years at different stages with different HODs, different people coming together, we fought those challenges in a very joyous manner. So it never felt like probably on any other production that we might face, or the moment you think of a wildlife or a nature, the kind of challenges. I think it was quite fun. It was quite fun to deal with baby elephants and just to be around them. So I think challenges were less and the process was more joyous for us.
Look at men. It's been image of those long lenses, open jeeps. There's a very macho-ness to wildlife so many years, and here's this young woman, a natural history photographer with her purest vision. And I'm so grateful that she chose Sikhya to produce and she reached out. So at any stage and at any audience that I get, I want to really say that that this has been one of the most beautiful journeys, and we got to learn a lot about wildlife with her on this journey, because it was also our first wildlife venture and a project.